What impact have the Albanese-Labor government's policies had for women wanting to work full-time?
The call to the Minister for Employment, Workplace Relations and the Minister for the Arts.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Canberra for the question and acknowledge the member for Canberra's strong advocacy, wanting to remove the barriers that make it harder for women who want to work full-time to be able to take up that opportunity. Under the Albanese-Labor government, more Australian women are now getting into full-time work than ever before. Our first 12 months of government delivered the strongest jobs growth for any new Australian government, 330,000 jobs, but a record high number of women are joining the workforce too, 163,900 more in the last 12 months. If you look at the total figures of this jobs boom over the last 12 months and think that these figures involve 4 different categories: men working full-time, women working full-time, men working part-time, women working part-time. And across that full set, 57% of the new jobs are women working full-time. 57%. Now, you don't get a change like that through some coincidence. You only get a structural shift like that because there are structural shifts happening in the rules for work in Australia. This government created the opportunity which allowed more women who wanted to work full-time to do so when it made those changes. When it delivered stronger gender pay equity laws, it delivered more options for women. We delivered more options for women wanting to work full-time when we backed pay increases, including the 15% pay increase in the aged care sector, a heavily feminised sector. When we stood in last year's annual wage review and this year's annual wage review for a real wage increase for low-paid workers, where we have stood against all the arguments and excuses that we dealt with for years and now are in the process of implementing all 55 recommendations of the Respect at Work report. This government created more options for women who want to work full-time when we passed laws to make childcare cheaper and more accessible for 96% of Australian families, when we delivered the biggest boost to paid parental leave since the scheme was introduced by Labor in 2021. When you change the law to remove the barriers, you start to get the figures that we're now seeing. When you change the laws to provide flexibility in the workplace, you start to find that many women who wanted to work full-time, who previously couldn't, now can. And as we work towards legislation later this year, where we remove further loopholes to create a workplace situation which makes it easier for people to get into the workforce, we'll continue to see a change of government, meaning a change of opportunity for women wanting to work full-time.